Hello students, today we will discuss a new topic, tabulation of data and merits and demerits. So, according to statistics, a table or a statistical table is a systematic arrangement of data in columns and rows with a given predetermined and a well decided objective. A table or statistical table is systematic arrangement of a data in columns and rows with a given predetermined and a well decided objective. A row of table represent a horizontal arrangement while a column represent a vertical arrangement of data. To explain the nature of the information in given table, its rows and columns designated by appropriate stuffs and captions or headings or subheadings respectively. So, we are trying to understand what do we mean by statistical table. A statistical table consists nature of the information in given table, rows, columns are designated by appropriate stuffs and captions. Presentation of data in tabular form should be simple, planned and logical. The logical listing of related quantitative data in vertical columns and horizontal rows and number of with sufficient explanatory and qualifying words, phrases and statements in the form of titles, headings and explanatory notes to make clear the full meaning, context and origin of the data essaying. That means, your table, the tabular form should be simple and planned and logical. So, if you are organize the data, a common people also easily understand. That is why that tabular form is very important. It should having logical listing of related quantitative data in vertical columns and horizontal rows of numbers with sufficient explanatory and qualifying words, phrases and statements in the form of titles. Your title should be rigidly defined. Heading should be rigidly defined. Everything in a clear manner. That is why everything is clear, hence we can say it is a good tabular form. So, this table is based on the hypothetical figures of exports and imports of the country X with country B for the 3 years 1995, 1996 and 1997. Here first column is represented by country and horizontally we can write years, vertically we can write country names. So, this complete data is available with one tabular form. Using this table we can define, we can interpret lot. We can easily understand oral representation is not efficient, not having the sufficient information. If we show any data in tabular form which is well good, everyone can easily understood. Now, coming to our example, here 3 years of data is available with us 1995, 1996 and 1997. So, country Nepal, Bangladesh, China, Singapore. So, imports and exports 60, 70 and 45. So, imports values of 1995 is 60, 45, 50, 60 total 215 and exports from same year 70 from Nepal, 50 from Bangladesh and 60 from China and 70 from Singapore. Total exports are 190. Imports from 1996 from Nepal 50, Bangladesh 60, China 70, Singapore 70. In the same year, exports from Nepal 60 and Bangladesh 70, China 80 and Singapore 80. In 1997, Nepal 40, Bangladesh 80, China 60, Singapore 80, total 260. Total imports 260 units. Now, coming to exports from the same year, Nepal 50, Bangladesh 50, China 70, Singapore 90, total 260. From this table, it is clear that, so that means what is the note? Figures are quick estimates. What I said earlier, this tabular form is to the quick estimations, quickly, easily understand, easily identify the figures. Figures are quick estimates. Where I get this information, that is known as a source note. So, I am taking this source is from my source is Trade Bulletin 1998, Ministry of Foreign Trade of X. These are the import and export information from the last 3 years. In this table, it is clear that the purpose is to show imports and exports of the India via the rest of the world. It is noticed that a particular entry of the table refers to a column and a row. This figure then can compared with other import and export figures to the seeks to important interpretation. So, how it is lagging, what is the import of the year, what is the corresponding year, what is export, everything is from. So, I have observed this in this table, it is clearly information. That is why we can say that what? We can say that the figures are quick estimates. The major objectives of the tabulations are, it is simplifies the complex data by avoiding unnecessary information. First point. Second one is, data represented in the form of a table reveals the trend or pattern of data which otherwise cannot be understood in a descriptive form of presentation. Tabulation facilitates quick comparisons among its observations. It helps us as a reference for future needs. So, these are the main objectives of the tabulations. First one is simple and complex data avoiding unnecessary information. That is the foremost important point. A data should be rigidly at easily and clearly understanding objective. It simplifies the complex data by avoiding the unnecessary information. Only you have to put appropriate information which is useful information only you have incorporate in that table. Data present the form of tabular reveals the trend or pattern of the data. It is very good. So, which otherwise we cannot understand the descriptive form of the data. Now, here anything you have to write the orally, you can explain the things, we cannot understand. If you show that information in tabular form, everyone can understand easily. That is the main objective of that main important foremost important point on the tabulation. Now, coming to third one, tabulation facilitates a quick comparison among its observations. If you have the table, in this table we can easily compare, like previous example, how exports, how imports are going on, India via other countries. Same thing we can apply for the other things also. That is why tabulation facilitates quick comparison among its observations. It helps as a reference for the future needs also. I took the data from the given sources, just I compare. That is why if you put any data in tabular form, which help us to further investigation for the scope of studies also available with us. Using the table, we can take so many remedies. Example, your data rainfall, we can rainfall of the countries, we can put in a tabular form using by observing data what is the estimated value in the coming 10 years, coming 20 years. So, you have to put the appropriate data, the data in a tabular form for the sake of future use. This is also one of the main objective of tabulation. So, basically we have the different types of tables. In generally, basically we have two types of tables. Those are, first one is reference table or general purpose of table. First one is reference table or general purpose of table, and second one is text tables or special purpose tables. How many types of tables we have here? Two. Basically we have the two types of tables, reference tables and text tables. I will discuss one by one. Reference table, first one is reference table. So, reference tables are tables we prepare for a general purpose, and these tables used for storing information with the objective of presenting data meaningfully. From the tables we can derive information which is also called secondary data. So, reference tables are we prepare a general purpose, all these tables are used for storing the information. For example, you want to store the data information among your class. How many number of students in your class? Number of male students, number of female students. Again we can go for sub classifications. How many are married, how many are unmarried, how many are employed, how many are unemployed. This type of classification. The total data we can put in a tabular forms. That is organizing the data. This is known as a reference table. Examples are tables presented by different government departments, ministries, Reserve Bank of India, Economic Survey, etc. are used for reference tables and are routine work of these departments. Why? Because they are release the annual reports or quarterly reports or monthly reports of that organizations. That means all the data is put in a tabular form. Tabular means table form. So those numbers are quick references for doing analysis, for understanding the concept, how that organization is going on. So this is the first one is reference table. The population, for example, in this reference table also population census tables are prepared by Registrar General of India, giving detailed information on the demographic features of India is another important example. Students are advised to consult the latest issue of Economic Survey, which is issued every year along with the Union Budget of India. Every year Union Budget of India is released one magazine, Economic Survey is released one magazine. In that everything is in a tabular form. How the budget allocation is going on, that's year wise in that particular place, particular area, particular states, how the budget is allocated. Everything is put in a table form. So that is why the first most important one is reference table. These are the useful tables. Now coming to second one is text tables. Reference table and second one is text tables. Text tables are the special type of tables. These tables are smaller in size and are prepared from the reference tables. To study a particular aspect of these tables will be prepared. So objectivity is already you know, which type of data is information, which type of objective of study already they know. So based on that only they organize, they collect the information, the data we put in a this text table form. For example, from the population census, tables we may collect the information regarding various demographic factors like population census. Generally they are asking the information like this: religion, age, gender, income, languages they speak, etc. Similarly, from various publications of Reserve Bank of India, we may be also extract information in tabular form on money supply, rate of interest offered by bank for the last 10 years and so on. That means text tables are only based on the particular aspects. Why? Because population census they collect the information like this. Demography factors are like religion, age, gender, income, language they can speak. These are the text tables. This information can be put in a text table form. Now, what are the features of one more important content I would like to discuss here, that is features of a table. A table should have a following features. First one is table number, title of the table, endnote, stubs, captions, main body of the table, footnote. These are the 7 foremost important features. If they maintain this type of features, the table will give the lot of information, clear information. So that is why we will discuss one by one how to prepare a, how to designate a, how to prepare a, what are the features of a good table. A table should be have the following features, then we can say it is a good table. So first point is table number. First point apart from the 7s, we will discuss one by one. One is table number. A table should have its own identification, what I said earlier also. Using one table, this table is provided a lot of information. That is why table number should have its own identification. For example, in case of report generation based on the data stored in various tables, it is mandatory to mention the table identification from which we are generating the report. Otherwise, confliction is going on, controversy is going on, which table, which table. So, we have to give the appropriate number, then we can easily identify the number. So, a table clearly mention the table number 1, 2 like this. So, otherwise it is a confusion is going on. Therefore, a table should be identify a number. Generally, table number can be mentioned the top of the table. Top of the table we write the table 1, table 2, table 3 like this. Next, immediately the table after table number we followed by title of the table. Table 1 it indicates what? So, how to we have to, that is why the table is having the title. If it is having the title, it deals with a lot of information. We can easily identify that this table is belongs to which information. This table is containing which information, we can easily identify based on the title. We have the many tables, among the many tables which information you want to know. Then based on the title of the table, we can easily take the information from that particular table. That is why table number is required for presentation of data. That means title of the table is necessary to understand what is in the table. The title of the table should be brief and precise, avoid lengthy sentences. That is the foremost important point. So, your title should be very clear, otherwise confusion is going on. That is why. So, if you have in the good title, that we have that give lot of information. Present the title with bold or capital letters. This is one foremost important point. So, you have to write title with capital letters or bold. That indicates that so and so number and title of the table. Now, endnotes. It is also called preparatory note. It is written just below the title. Just below the title. Title is there, beside title you write the endnote. It shows content of the unit of measurement, like if you want to measure the title, after the title the measurement in terms of measurement in budget is in terms of rupees. That means you have to write. It shows content unit of measurement like rupees or crores, lakh of tons or thousands of bales. It should be written in bracket. It should appear right side top just below the title. However, every table does not need to head note like number of students in each class. That means not necessary sometimes, only head notes is, if it is necessary we can use this head note. If you use the head note, it's a better, it will clear, it is even the give the certain information which measurements are we are used in this particular table. So, we are identify like that. Now, coming to fourth one. Fourth feature of the good table is stubs. Sometimes one single table representation not to fit the correct information. For example, in a class number of students, again the number of students are classified into number of boys, number of girls. That then we required stubs. In that stubs designated by rows. So, that means stubs are used to designated rows. They are appear on the left hand column of the table. Stubs consist of two parts. Stub describe the nature of the sub entry. Sub entry is the description of the row entry. I will give the show the table, one table, what is you mean by how table is looking like that. So, so now fourth one is stub. Stub is nothing but we have to sub is describe the nature of the sub entry. Sub is entry the description of the row entry. Now, fifth one is captions. Captions are also called box heads, designated the data presented in the columns of the table. It may contain more than one column heads, and each column head may be subdivided into more than one subhead. For example, we can divide the students of a college into hostelers and non-hostelers, and then again into male and females. This will help us to know the number of female hostelers, male hostelers and female hostelers in say how many are in first year, how many are in second year and third year, and so on. We have to find the like this. So, this is a very good representation. This caption is also called box ads. If your data like this, then we can apply these captions. Divide into more than, it can divide it into more than many subdivided into more than one subheads. That is why captions also very important. This is also one of the foremost important feature in tabulation. Now, coming to sixth one, the main body of the table. This is very important, foremost important thing. It is also called field of the table. It is the foremost important bulky part. It contains the relevant numerical information about which a hint is already contained in the title of the table. So, main body tells about the complete information about the table, information about which a hint is already contained in the title of the table. What the title of the table shows lot of information which will tells about the lot of information in this main body of the table. 7 points now, one by one. So, now last point up in this case, footnote. What do you mean by footnote? What is the use of this footnote? Footnote is a qualifying statement put just below the table at the bottom. Its purpose is to caution about the limitation of the data or certain omissions. Source of data may be the last part of the table. It is important. It speaks about the authenticity of the data quoted. How many features we are discussed? Table number, title of the table, headnotes, stubs, captions, main body of the table, footnote. Now, I will give the one example table here. I can show one example. I can explain the one example table. So, what I said, first one is table number and title and head are preparatory notes, then captions, subheadings, again captions under subheads, column head 1, column head, again subhead, column head and so on like this. Again subheads and total columns. Between the table is shows represent the body of the table. Finally, we can write down of the table is we can write footnote or source note. Sometimes source note is also required. It is not mandatory, but we can write source note also if it is available. Footnote is and table number, title is mandatory. It will give the good feature. If you write the appropriate number, it shows lot of information. So, now we can use some remarks while preparing the table. So, if the information is not available information should be identified by the letter NA or put by dash in the body of the table, ditto marks, etc. and abbreviated form should be avoided in the table. Do not write the abbreviated do like this. Okay. So, if the information is not available, you write NA or dash, that is enough. Need not to write abbreviations, should avoid the abbreviation forms from the tables. Now, what is the importance of table? So, everything is importance and the tables having some information like this, advantages and merits, and in terms of advantage means merits and demerits. The numerical information arranged in a tabular form as distinct advantage or merits over the forms of presentation. First, the tabulated data are easy to understand and interpret. Secondly, it can easily quick comparison. Thirdly, the open thus the further investigation point of view. Fourthly, they can have more lasting impression on the human mind than textual statement. Needless to say that the statistical tables are used to extensively in almost all the fields of human enquiry. That is a foremost advantage and important of the statistical tables. That means, what I am trying to say here, advantages of table. That means importance of tables. Tabulated data is it, if it is a good rigidly defined table, everyone should easily understand and interpret the data. That is the foremost important content in the table form. Now, anyhow we have some demerits also. It leads to finding new formulas and builds those skills necessary to adapt and change the formula doesn't quite fit the model. Sometimes if you collect the data that is not fit certain models. Another disadvantage of this is loss of memorization skills. Memorization is an important brain function exercise that is lost by if you use the tabular forms. Almost finally I can say one more last thing is allowing the use of tables discourage an act of memorization. So that means only few dips, but anyhow we have lot of advantages, but only few demerits in that case. Now finally we can conclude this. So what is the advantage? So these are the features of good tables. Now we are talking about, already we discussed the few points. Now again we can just recall the features of tables. The good table is rigidly defined. This having we should follow the 7 following features. Table number, you have to always keep in mind this. Table number, title of the table, head note, stubs, captions, main body of the table, footnotes. These are the main features of the table. Let I conclude now. So these things.